Fairbanks of Porcelain, and I wanted to introduce you to my new pattern, the Eve Cup and the Eve Band. Now I know you're looking at this right now and you're saying, wow, that's super tiny. Yes, this one is super tiny. This one I actually made specifically for my sister, and you might be wondering, well, how is your sister that size and then I'm this size? Just a little bit of genetics. I guess we got those traits from different sides of the family. Anyways, this bra, I'm calling it the Eve because this is the first of many. And so maybe it's a little biblical, but as Eve, this is, it's actually a very unique pattern, and no one has done something like this before, which is why I'm really excited about it. I've actually been working on this for about 2 months, maybe 3 months. And I've been doing a whole lot of testing, and what makes this so unique is that this is not basically sized by like 30A through 40F. This is actually based a little bit differently. This is actually based on your measurements. So in order to use my patterns, and know that there's a whole lot more that's coming out, but for this new set of underwire bras that I'm going to be releasing over basically for the next few years, you will be basing your pattern on your underwire. So you may be like, oh, well, I don't know what underwire I wear. I've never made one before. Well, that's totally understandable. What you want to do, and I actually have an underwire here to show you. In order to pick the correct underwire, what you want to make sure is that you actually have a shape for your breast root. Now, most manufacturers don't do their sizing like this. They say, okay, if you're going to be a 32B, you're going to use a 32 wire. If you're 32C, you're going to use a 34 wire. So they do their sizes a little differently. The way mine are created is that you actually choose your wire first. And so when you're choosing a wire, what you want to make sure is that you have a wire that fully encompasses the breast tissue. So you don't want to have it sitting on the breast, you don't want to have it, you don't want to have a huge gap between the breast and the wire. So ideally what you would do is you would get some wire. You can get some copper wire. I actually have picked out some, let's see, I've got my goodie box over here. I picked up some of this from, here we go, from Lowe's. And it's actually, this is kind of clothesline wire. But what you want to do is you really, if you don't know where to even start with the wire, get yourself some flexible wire that will keep its shape. So that way you can do a full mold and full analysis of what size you are. So if you are a little bit narrower, you want to kind of do a little pre-molding first. That way it's a little bit easier to line up. And then you just kind of do your tweaking on your form. Now, once you've done your little tweaking, so okay, hey, say, I'm putting this on and it fits like this, and then the wire kind of springs open when you take it off. Try and maybe bend it in a little bit more, put it on, see if it stays. You want to make sure that the wire itself is not moving. And then what you can do is you can actually take your wire trace, this is called a wire trace of the breast, and then you can match this to the different wire charts that the different manufacturers have. Now my patterns are all designed for my wires, but many other people's wires are very similar to mine, and some of them might be identical in shape, but mine are specifically for my wires. But you can line these up against my wire charts or whoever's charts, figure out what is the closest to my wires, and then you're going to select your pattern and your band and everything else based on your wire. So with the band, I've actually done the same range I did for the sports bra, so you have from a 28 band all the way to 52 band. And each band is then available in anywhere from 5 to 12 different wire sizes. So that means that I'm not doing the bands based on that the band is a 34B, it's just the band is a 34, and then you have the option of you know, wires from a size 28 to a 50. And that is completely up to you based on how your wire traces. So once you've selected your wire and you've selected your band, then you can actually go towards the cup. Now I've created a couple different calculators for the patterns, one on the band page. So the bands and cups are sold separately. And this is another reason why this is unique, is because I'm planning to do some more mix and match styles. So instead of me having to release a whole new band and go through the whole, you know, the whole deal of trying to, okay, well, what if I only want to have this new cup shape and I don't really want to have to, you don't want to have to buy the band twice, right? So if I'm doing the band for $10 or $9 or whatever I end up settling on, and I do the cups for $10, well, when I have a new cup design, I will do that one for $10. So you have part of the pattern already, and all you have to do is buy the other parts that you want to mix and match with it. So the band is going to have its own band calculator, and it's going to give you not only the band size you want to select with me, but also what I call the V shape. You're like, well, what is a V shape? The V shape is the shape from under the breast to over the breast, V. So in general, a lot of bra manufacturers, they draft for basically the difference between the chest and under breast at about a 4 to 6 inch difference. Well, my patterns actually give you 4 options for that. So you can actually have one that is more of a column. So you would actually choose the V0. If you only have a slight difference between your over and under, then you might be the V2. Or if you're pretty wide, you have the V6. I only went up to the V6, although I do know that there are several of you that may go over the V6. In the instructions, it does tell you how to make those adjustments, but in the calculator, I had my husband put together a little output that even tells you how to do the math to figure out how to adjust your pattern. So that's for the band. Now for the cup is basically is all based on the drafting method that I created for Bare Essentials. So you'll be entering your wire, your under bust, your full bust, and your over bust. And once you have all that information in there, it is going to give you an output of a cup. Now, this isn't like A through Z or anything. This is basically a number that is going to be associated with it. So you're not considering yourself an A cup or B cup or C cup or anything like that. You're going from a 1 through a 20. So on the regular wire, we have from cup 1 to cup 20, and it is in the works, which is my vertical wires. It's a slightly different cup design because it's a slightly different cup shape, but it's very similar style lines on it. And that one is also going to be called the Eve, but for the vertical wire. And that one should be ready in a few weeks after the release of the regular. So it could be while you're watching this that it's already available. And that one is actually going to be available right now, I'm saying from cup 1 to cup 25. I may end up adding cups to either one of these ranges by the data that I collect. So if you're filling out the form on the cup and you want to figure out which cup size you are, and it happens to come up that says your cup size is not available, you may just be out of the range or under the range, or maybe it's you're using a wire that I didn't produce a pattern for that cup size. Now most of that information, most of those patterns I actually have, so it's just a matter of requesting them from me to add them back to the group. And if for some reason you're just out of the range, we will see if that's, if I get enough requests for things like, to add a cup 21 or a cup 22, I'm able to do that relatively easy, but I do need to actually collect that data. So if you happen to measure outside of the range for the regular wire, and of course when the vertical one comes out, you can also email me and let me know which one it says you would be in, or actually, because it wouldn't tell you, because if I don't have it, it wouldn't tell you. You want to give me your measurements based on what you would be entering into that calculator, and then I can look to see when I'll be able to produce that pattern for you. And like I said, I have created over 600 variations for the band and over 600 variations for the cup. So just as the band, we did the V shape, the cup is also going to have a V shape. Not on the whole thing though. The top cup is the only one that changes for that V shape, which would basically mean that for someone who has a wider chest, your top cup is going to be wider. Someone who has a narrower chest is going to have a narrower top cup. And so for each, so not only for the cup size do you, and actually I don't think I mentioned it, when you order your cup sizes, you'll basically order the wire. And in that wire, you will have, I think, about up to 12 different cups to choose from. So you can use the one that's recommended, and for some reason it's a little bit too snug or a little too big. There's other cups in that range that will still fit into the band, so you don't have to do additional adjustments. All you have to do is select a different pattern and try it out. And definitely share your photos with me if you're not sure if you need to go up or down, or if you're right there, or possibly you picked the wrong pattern. Definitely let me know. And I am very active on some of the bra making forums that are on Facebook, so you can always go on there and then ask, and just either, you can try and tag me, but I don't know if you can tag me unless you're friends with me. But you can just list Porcelynne, and someone who has actually used one of my patterns will tag me and let me know you have a question about that pattern. So back to my Eve. This is a cup size 1, and I go up to a 20. So if that gives you a little idea of how that will work, I put it on her, although she is about, I think, a cup 4 or cup 5 for the same band. So it'll look a little bit small on her, but it's a simple little design. It's and it's fun, and hopefully this is a good introduction for those of you who have difficulty finding a bra that you can actually get started with something. And I think that is it. Feel free to comment below and ask me any questions you have. I have a series of sewing videos that will be released with this. One thing I should mention is that I recommend on your first time sewing a bra, or especially with any bra you try, you want to make a fitting band. And so I also have a set of videos on how to make a fitting band, so you can make sure that that wire and that frame, and the frame is the band, that fits you correctly before you move on to the cup. By all means, you're welcome to sew the whole thing together, but if you have an issue with the band or the wire that you don't address before you move to the cup, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint exactly what the fit issue is. But that is it. Thanks for watching. If you would like to have more content like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment below. Thank you very much.